about 82, 83 made the transition to grade one, right?
Yeah.
And then, so you were firmly ensconced as the bass drummer. And then, which would have been unusual for a woman, female, certainly at the higher levels, to be on bass at that point.
I never ever looked at
Never
things
thought
like
of it.
that. No,
Yeah.
I, as I say, grew up in a situation where my father believed that you just got on with it. So we had a big discussion at home once why the girls had to do this, that, and the next thing in the house, and my brother got to do the stuff outside. And father went, "Okay then, keep the tractor, go and turn the hay." So so we were just used to getting on with things. And back to the OTC, I was the first female in the pipe band in Edinburgh.
Right.
Elaine Marnoch was in a similar situation in Aberdeen, and Kathy Loudon in Glasgow. So there was one of us in each
Interesting.
unit. But
So I think,
it wasn't. The lads were all just good pals. There was no hassles.
Right.
It's just the way we got on with it. So it was the same in the Vale. The Vale also had they always had quite a few girls piping. Sharon Walker,
right.
Morag. So yeah.
And would have been in the 80s when at the World Championships they were still awarding the best bass award, and you were recognized for that, I believe, in the late 80s.
86.
86?
That's a wonderful story, actually. We had just got sponsorship from ScotRail, and we were just into grade one, so we weren't really looking to hit the award winners, but they were very smart, so we all played well, and we're there at the mass bands, the usual chaos at mass bands, and they announced marching and discipline grade one, ScotRail Vale of Atholl. So we're absolutely thrilled to bits, because at that time you had all these police pipe bands, army bands, smart guys. So we were fair chuffed at that. So Ian's off to get the prize for marching and discipline. And the sound systems in those days, you never knew what was going on. Anyway, Gordon Duncan standing in front of me going, "Ho ho, Chris Ross has won this." And I'm going, "What, Gordon?" Just winding me up, And then he went, "Christ, you have." And I'm going, "What?" Like, just a wind up. "You have got." I'm going, "What?" I didn't even know that. I didn't know that prize existed. But I had won the first. It was bass drum for grade one. So I'm marching off onto the field, meeting Ian coming back, going, "Where are you going?" And it was an unforgettable day. I think all the more because I didn't actually know it existed. I'd won something I didn't know had existed.
It's great.
And it made it special. My dad was there with us that day watching. So when the results went up, he was jumping about. He was surrounded by this group of North American ladies who all went, "Oh, somebody won something." So he was having a whale of a time in the crowd as well, with all these people celebrating with him. So.
That's terrific, and that would have been around a time when some pretty good bass players were going around. I'm thinking Luke Allen from the 78 Fraser Highlanders, and thinking Jimmy Stewart. Probably, I think Toronto and District would have probably been over at that point.
Yeah, there's some. It was again, there was a great camaraderie between the bass drummers. As I say, the bass drum, it's a slightly unique position within the band, in that you're very much part of the team, but you're also kind of on your own in some ways. So there's great camaraderie between the bass drummers, really. We all empathise with each other.
Yeah, tremendous power in the bass drum, to change the fortune of the band if you want to.
Yes, Yes, there's the potential to cause real chaos if you've had a really
That's right.
evil mind.
A lot of trust with bass drumming. So tell us about the Vale back in the 1980s, the early 90s. Very musical band, prize winning for sure, but doing some adventurous things musically.
Yeah.
How did that play into what you were doing on the bass, and vice versa? How were you maybe influencing some of the music on the pipe music, that is?
I don't know that we all really realised what we were doing. We were just having a fantastic time playing superb music. The tunes just came thick and fast. We had some great musicians there. Obviously Ian Gordon had tunes. Gary West, Malcolm Robertson as well. These guys, there were just tunes coming all the time, and we all soaked them up. You would learn a tune, and I think we changed our medleys every year, both of them. We just had a huge number of tunes because Gordon would write something, we think great, and we'd play it, and then he'd come away with something else, and we'd go, oh, that's a good tune, and it had a huge momentum. And I suppose everybody was in their sort of 20s, really. They were, young band, so it was all exciting. Which just everybody pushed each other on. At the time, I don't think we realised what we were doing. We were just enjoying it and having a fantastic time. And the opportunity that the music we were playing gave us a huge concert repertoire as well, because we had so much music and we enjoyed doing that sort of thing. So we started getting invited to play at wonderful venues across the world, which for youngsters from sort of Bonar Bridge and Pitlochry, that was really quite exciting.
Yeah.
And we all got on. It was a great team.
It seemed like the Vale in the UK was very kind of sticking its neck out quite a bit musically. Maybe not even thinking about it, but one of the first bands really to kind of extend the reach of a pipe band musically. Maybe taking the cue from others before it, for sure. And the same sort of thing was happening maybe in Ontario.
That's right.
And the Vale
the 78s were
right.
doing.
And the Vale came to Ontario in 1988. Did you take a lot of inspiration from that? Was it a music fact-finding investigative journey?
I think wherever we went, it was a music fact-finding thing. Yeah. And meeting other enthusiasts. An awful lot of it was quite a blur. As I say, you go back to what year was that, and I haven't got a clue what year it was. But yes, we had. It was wonderful to meet the other bands as well from over here, because at that point we were. What's the word? Not exactly junior, but these were well-established bands, whereas we felt quite a wee band from Pitlochry.
Right.
There was still that degree to it. And but I think one thing that I look back on and think must have been so hard for Gordon Duncan, was that we loved his music, so we played all his stuff. And time after time we would get crit sheets with good playing, shame about the tunes, and the tunes would be not appreciated, shall we say, and we used to go, did they not get it, kind of thing. And I think they just didn't. I don't know why, but now you see all these tunes are being played. The punters loved it. It was just, we couldn't seem to get past that, and I think that must have been so hard for Gordon and Ian as well. But they kept going, despite it all. They kept going and played all the crazy music.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. As much as judges might want to to put it down
Yeah.
and get you to toe the line or stay in line with what's happened, a more traditional approach. The Vale very much, both piping and drumming, I think,
Yes.
went in its own direction.
And yet we still enjoyed our traditional MSRs.
Sure.
But the medley was way, let's go for it. And yeah, some steep learning curves with Gordon introducing us all to all different time signatures and things like that. That was a step.
And so tell us about the actual bass drumming approach that you would take to, you've got some different time signatures, different transitions, very creative things happening. Would you score those on your own, or would you work with John to do that? Would Ian?
Initially, John wrote the beatings out for us, but as time went on, I actually used to spend my winter with the pipers, and not with the drummers at all. I went to piping practices all winter, so I actually learned the tunes. Well, not playing pipes, but I was there listening to them, the way they're phrasing it and the way they were playing it, which is a very different way to most corps now. And then once the whole band started coming together, we'd have chanter and stick practices all together. If something wasn't clicking, it didn't take long to sort it out. If what I was doing wasn't fitting in with the rest of the drum corps, there was something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the way we did it. No, I was pretty well left to my own devices, although I listened to the side corps as well. So we put things together. But I just felt I just played the tune, really.
And you obviously pipe major and Ian, who would be sympathetic to that kind of approach. He understood that.
Yes.
Yes, having the bass drummer.
Yes, he wanted me focused on him.
Rhythmical.
And the leading drummer was focused on him, so that was our base.
Interesting.
And I'm not very sure about the current protocol where bass drummers are not looking at their pipe major at all. And I do hear it's not working for a few. There's a touch of making the bass drum into a large tenor drum. And I don't think it is at all. It's a different animal.
Well, maybe we can get into that a little bit later. Back then, you've seen the evolution of the instrument itself take shape in more of a tonal presence within the band. Do you think, have bass drums as an instrument advanced in the same rate as, say, the pipes or certainly tenor drums, as the evolution continues?
No, I think they've got a bit to go. They've got bigger. And the size helped to a degree, but I think because they're using thinner, I don't know, there's a thinner shell, but there's not the same, the sound's not carrying the same. Most of the new bass drums, if you stand in front or behind them, there's just absolutely nothing there, which is why all the bass drummers are turning at quaint angles, but there's always somebody behind or in front that's just not hearing it. And the projection is not what it used to be years ago.
Okay.
So I think there's a bit to go with it. It's wide open there to improve the sound. I don't think they need to get any bigger. In fact, I think they probably need to cut it a bit.
Yeah.
Some of the old drums that were narrower, that you could actually see from behind, would project much better. Also, when I first started playing, we would put skins on a bass drum and like September or something, and just get it settled over the summer, or, you know, over the winter. By the time you hit the summer, it really barely needed any adjustment. In fact, the only time it really needed much adjustment is if somebody else had been playing it, because they would have a different weight
Right.
on it. Whereas a lot of the new bass drums, they need constant attention.
And is that due to the materials, just inferior workmanship these days? Maybe not built to last, or like what's going on here?
I'm not quite sure. I think it is maybe inferior materials. I think they're using more plastics and less actual wood with its tonal quality or whatever. And there's been they're trying. There's varying variations, but I think some of the materials are maybe not just as robust. Cases of cast brackets just snapping. Well, that never ever happened years gone by.